The Imitation of Christ by Thomas A. Kempis. Book 3, the 16th chapter. True comfort is to be sought in God alone. The disciple. Whatever I can desire or imagine for my own comfort, I look for not here but hereafter. For if I alone should have all the world's comforts and could enjoy all its delights, it is certain that they could not long endure. Therefore, my soul, you cannot enjoy full consolation or perfect delight except in God, the consoler of the poor and the helper of the humble. Wait a little, my soul, wait for the divine promise, and you will have an abundance of all good things in heaven. If you desire these present things too much, you will lose those which are everlasting and heavenly. Use temporal things, but desire eternal things. You cannot be satisfied with any temporal goods because you are not created to enjoy them. Even if you possessed all created things, you could not be happy and blessed. For in God, who created all these things, your whole blessedness and happiness consists. Not indeed such happiness as is seen and praised by lovers of the world, but such as that for which the good and faithful servants of Christ wait, and of which the spiritual and pure of heart, whose conversation is in heaven, sometime have a foretaste. Vain and brief is all human consolation, but that which is received inwardly from the truth is blessed and true. The devout man carries his consoler. The devout man carries his consoler, Jesus, everywhere with him, and he says to him, "Be with me, Lord Jesus, in every place and at all times." Let this be my consolation, to be willing to forego all human comforting. And if your consolation be wanting to me, let your will and just trial of me be my greatest comfort. And if your consolation be wanting to me, let your will and just trial of me be my greatest comfort. For you will not always be angry, nor will you threaten forever. The Imitation of Christ, Book 3, the 17th chapter. All our care is to be placed in God, the voice of Christ. My child, allow me to do what I will with you. I know what is best for you. You think as a man, you feel in many things as human affection persuades. The disciple. Lord, what you say is true. Your care for me is greater than all the care I can take of myself. For he who does not cast all his care upon you stands very unsafely. If only my will remain right, and firm towards you, Lord, do with me whatever pleases you, for whatever you shall do with me can only be good. If you wish me to be in darkness, I shall bless you. And if you wish me to be in light, again I shall bless you. If you stoop down to comfort me, I shall bless you. And if you wish me to be afflicted, I shall bless you forever. The voice of Christ. My child, this is the disposition which you should have if you wish to walk with me. You should be as ready to suffer as to enjoy. You should as willingly be destitute and poor as rich and satisfied. The disciple. O Lord, I shall suffer willingly for your sake, whatever you wish to send me. I am ready to accept from your hand both good and evil alike, the sweet and the bitter together, sorrow with joy. And for all that happens to me, I am grateful. Keep me from all sin, and I will fear neither death nor hell. Do not cast me out forever, nor blot me out of the book of life. And whatever tribulation befalls will not harm me. The Imitation of Christ by Thomas A. Kempis. Book 3, the 18th chapter. Temporal sufferings should be borne patiently after the example of Christ. The voice of Christ. My child, I came down from heaven for your salvation and took upon myself your miseries, not out of necessity, but out of love, that you might learn to be patient and bear the sufferings of this life without repining. From the moment of my birth to my death on the cross, suffering did not leave me. I suffered great want of temporal goods. Often I heard many complaints against me. Disgrace and reviling I bore with patience. For my blessings I received ingratitude. For my miracles, blasphemies. And for my teaching, scorn. The disciple. O Lord, because you are patient in life, especially in fulfilling the design of the Father, it is fitting that I, a most miserable sinner, should live patiently according to your will, and as long as you shall wish, bear the burden of this corruptible body for the welfare of my soul. For though This present life seems burdensome, yet by your grace it becomes meritorious, and it is made brighter and more endurable for the weak by your example and the pathways of the saints. But it has also more consolation than formerly under the old law, when the gates of heaven were closed, when the way thereto seemed darker than now, and when so few cared to see the eternal kingdom. The just, the elect, could not enter heaven before your sufferings and sacred death had paid the debt. Oh, what great thanks I owe you, who have shown me and all the faithful the good and right way to your everlasting kingdom. Your life is our way, and in your holy patience we come nearer to you, who are our crown. Had you not gone before and taught us, who would have cared to follow? Alas, how many would have remained far behind had they not before their eyes your holy example? Behold, even we, who have heard of your many miracles and teachings, are still lukewarm. What would happen if we did not have such light by which to follow you? The Imitation of Christ by Thomas A. Kempis, Book 3, the 19th chapter. True patience is suffering. The voice of Christ. What are you saying, my child? Think of my suffering and that of the saints, and cease complaining. You have not yet resisted to the shedding of blood. What you suffer is very little compared with the great things they suffered, who were so strongly tempted, so severely troubled, so tried and tormented in many ways. Well, may you remember, therefore, the very painful woes of others, that you may bear your own little ones the more easily. And if they do not seem so small to you, examine if perhaps your impatience is not the cause of their apparent greatness, and whether they are great or small, try to bear them all patiently. The better you dispose yourself to suffer, the more wisely you act, and the greater is the reward promised you. Thus, you will suffer more easily in your mind and habits are diligent, trained to it. Thus, you will suffer more easily if your mind and habits are diligently trained to it. Do not say, I cannot bear this from such a man, nor should I suffer things of this kind, for he has done me a great wrong. He has accused me of many things of which I never thought. However, for someone else I will gladly suffer as much as I think I should. Such a thought is foolish, for it does not consider the virtue of patience or the one who will reward it, but rather weighs the person and the offense committed. The man who will suffer only as much as seems good to him, who will accept suffering only from those from whom he is pleased to accept it, is not truly patient. For the truly patient man does not consider from whom the suffering comes, whether from a superior, an equal, or an inferior, whether from a good and holy person, or from a perverse and unworthy one. But no matter how great an adversity befalls him, no matter how often it comes or from whom it comes, he accepts it gratefully from the hand of God and counts it a great gain. For with God, nothing that is suffered for His sake, no matter how small, can pass without reward. Be prepared for the fight. Then, if you wish to gain the victory, without struggle, you cannot obtain the crown of patience. And if you refuse to suffer, you are refusing the crown. But if you desire to be crowned, fight bravely and bear up patiently. Without labor, there is no rest, and without fighting, no victory. The disciple: O Lord, let that which seems naturally impossible to me become possible through your grace. You know that I suffer very little and that I am quickly discouraged when any small adversity arises. Let the torment of tribulation suffered for your name be pleasant and desirable to me, since to suffer and be troubled for your sake is very beneficial for my soul. The Imitation of Christ by Thomas A. Kempis, Book 3, the 20th chapter. Confessing our weakness in the miseries of life. I will bring witness against myself to my injustice, and to you, O Lord, I will confess my weakness. The disciple: I will bring witness against myself to my injustice, and to you, O Lord, I will confess my weakness. Often it is a small thing that makes me downcast and sad. I propose to act bravely, but when even a small temptation comes, I find myself in great straits. Sometimes it is the merest trifle which gives rise to grievous temptations. When I think myself somewhat safe and when I am not expecting it, I frequently find myself almost overcome by a slight wind. Look, therefore, Lord, at my lowliness and frailty, which you know so well. Have mercy on me and snatch me out of the mire, that I may not be caught in it and may not remain forever utterly despondent. That I am so prone to fall and so weak in resisting my passions oppresses me frequently and confounds me in your sight. While I do not fully consent to them, still their assault is very troublesome and grievous to me, and it wearies me exceedingly thus to live in daily strife. Yet, from the fact that abominable fancies rush in upon me much more easily than they leave, my weakness becomes clear to me. Oh, that you, most mighty God of Israel, jealous lover of faithful souls, would consider the labor and sorrow of your servant and assist him in all his undertakings. Strengthen me with heavenly courage, lest the outer man, the miserable flesh against which I shall be obliged to fight so long as I draw a breath in this wretched life, and which is not yet subjected to the Spirit, prevail and dominate me. Alas, what sort of life is this, from which troubles and miseries are never absent, where all things are full of snares and enemies? For when one trouble or temptation leaves, another comes. Indeed, even while the first conflict is still raging, many others begin unexpectedly. How is it possible to love a life that has such great bitterness, that is subject to so many calamities and miseries? Indeed, How can it even be called life when it begets so many deaths and plagues? And yet it is loud, and many seek their delight in it. Many persons often blame the world for being false and vain, yet do not readily give it up because the desires of the flesh have such great power. Sometimes draw them to love the world, others make them despise it. The lust of the flesh, the desires of the eye, and the pride of life lead to love, while the pains and miseries which are the just consequences of those things beget hatred and weariness of the world. Vicious pleasure overcomes the soul that is given to the world. She thinks that there are delights beneath these thorns because she has never seen or tasted the sweetness of God or the internal delight of virtue. They, on the other hand, who entirely despise the world and seek to live for God under the rule of the holy discipline, are not ignorant of the divine sweetness promised to those who truly renounce the world. They see clearly how greatly the world errs and in how many ways it deceives. The Imitation of Christ by Thomas A. Kempis. Book 3, the 21st chapter. Above all goods and all gifts, we must rest in God. The disciple. Above all things and in all things, O my soul, rest always in God, for He is the everlasting rest of the saints. Grant, most sweet and loving Jesus, that I may seek my repose in you above every creature, above all health and beauty, above every honor and glory, every power and dignity, above all knowledge and cleverness, all riches and arts, all joy and gladness, above all fame and praise, all sweetness and consolation, above every hope and promise, every merit and desire, above all the gifts and favors that you can give are pour down upon me, above all the joy and exultation that the mind can receive and feel, and finally above the angels and archangels and all the heavenly host, above all things visible and invisible, and may I seek my repose in you above everything that is not you, my God. For you, O Lord my God, are above all things the best. You alone are most high, you alone most powerful, you alone are most sufficient and most satisfying, you alone most sweet and consoling, you alone are most beautiful and loving, you alone most noble and glorious above all things. In you, in every perfection that has been or ever will be. Therefore, whatever you give me besides yourself, whatever you reveal to me concerning yourself, and whatever you promise is too small and insufficient when I do not see and fully enjoy you alone, for my heart cannot rest or be fully content until, rising above all gifts and every created thing, it rests in you, who, O most beloved spouse, Jesus Christ, most pure lover, Lord of all creation, who shall give me the wings of true liberty that I may fly to rest in you? When shall freedom be fully given me to see how sweet you are, O Lord my God? When shall I recollect myself entirely in you, so that because of your love I may feel not myself but you alone above all sense and measure in a manner known to none? But now I often lament and grieve over my unhappiness, for many evils befall me in this vale of miseries, often disturbing me, making me sad and overshadowing me, often hindering and distracting me, alluring and entangling me, so that I neither have free access to you nor enjoy the sweet embraces which are ever ready for blessed souls. Let my sighs and the manifold desolation here on earth move you. O Jesus, splendor of eternal glory, consolation of the pilgrim soul, with you my lips utter no sound, and to you my silence speaks. How long will my Lord delay his coming? How long will my Lord delay his coming? Let him come to his poor servant and make him happy. Let him put forth his hand and take this miserable creature from his anguish. Come, oh come, for without you there will be no happy day or hour, because you are my happiness, and without you my table is empty. I am wretched, as it were imprisoned and weighed down with fetters, until you fill me with the light of your presence. Restore me to liberty and show me a friendly countenance. Let others seek instead of you whatever they will, but nothing pleases me or will please me but you, my God, my hope, my everlasting salvation. I will not be silent, I will not cease praying until your grace returns to me and you speak inwardly to me, saying, Behold, I am here. Lo, I have come to you because you have called me. Your tears and the desire of your soul, your humility and contrition of heart have inclined me and brought me to you. Lord, I have called you and have desired you and have been ready to spurn all things for your sake. For you first spurned me on to seek you. May you be blessed, therefore, O Lord, for having shown this goodness to your servant according to the multitude of your mercies. What more is there for your servant to say to you unless, with his iniquity and vileness always in mind, he humbles himself before you? Nothing among all the wonders of heaven and earth is like to you. Your works are exceedingly good, your judgments true, and your providence rules the whole universe. And your providence rules the whole universe. May you be praised and glorified, therefore, O wisdom of the Father. May you be praised and glorified, therefore, O wisdom of the Father. Let my lips and my soul and all created things unite to praise and bless you. The Imitation of Christ by Thomas A. Kempis, Book 3, the 22nd chapter. Remember the innumerable gifts of God. The disciple. Open my heart, O Lord, to your law, and teach me to walk in the way of your commandments. Let me understand your will. Let me remember your blessings, all of them and each single one of them, with great reverence and care, so that henceforth I may return worthy thanks for them. I know that I am unable to give due thanks for even the least of your gifts. I am unworthy of the benefits you have given me, and when I consider your generosity, my spirit faints away before its greatness. All that we have of soul and body, whatever we possess interiorly or exteriorly, by nature or by grace, are your gifts, and they proclaim your goodness and mercy, from which we have received all good things. If one receives more and another less, yet all are yours, and without you nothing can be received. He who receives greater things cannot glory in his own merit or consider himself above others or behave insolently towards those who receive less. He who attributes less to himself and is the more humble and devout in returning thanks is indeed the greater and the better, while he who considers himself lower than all men and judges himself to be the least worthy is the more fit to receive the greater blessing. He, on the other hand, who has received fewer gifts, should not be sad or impatient or envious of the richer man. Instead, he should turn his mind to you and offer you the greatest praise, because you give so bountifully, so freely and willingly, without regard to persons. All things come from you, therefore you are to be praised in all things. You know what is good for each of us, and why one should receive less and another more is not for us to judge, but for you who have marked every man's merits. Therefore, O Lord God, I consider it a great blessing not to have many things which human judgment holds praiseworthy and glorious, for one who realizes his own poverty and vileness should not be sad or downcast at it, but rather consoled and happy, because you, O God, have chosen the poor, the humble, and the despised in this world to be your friends and servants. The truth of this is witnessed by your apostles, whom you made princes over all the world. Yet they lived in this world without complaining, so humble and simple, so free from malice and deceit, that they were happy even to suffer reproach for your name and to embrace with great affection that which the world abhors. That which the world abhors. A man who loves you and recognizes your benefits, therefore, should be gladdened by nothing so much as by your will, and by the good pleasure of your eternal decree. With this, he should be so contented and consoled that he would wish to be the least as others wish to be the greatest, that he would be as peaceful and satisfied in the last place as in the first, and as willing to be despised, unknown, and forgotten as to be honored by others and to have more fame than they. He should prefer your will and the love of your honor to all else, and it should comfort him more than all the benefits which have been or will be given him. The Imitation of Christ by Thomas A. Kempis, Book 3, the 23rd chapter. 4 things which bring great peace. The voice of Christ. My child, I will teach you now the way of peace and true liberty. Seek, child, to do the will of others rather than your own. Always choose to have less rather than more. Look always for the last place and seek to be beneath all others. Always wish and pray that the will of God be fully carried out in you. Behold, such will enter into the realm of peace and rest. The disciple. The disciple. O Lord, this brief discourse of yours contains much perfection. It is short in words, but full of meaning and abounding in fruit. Certainly, if I could only keep it faithfully, I should not be so easily disturbed. For as often as I find myself troubled and dejected, I find that I have departed from this teaching. But you, who can do all things and who always love what is for my soul's welfare, give me increase of grace that I may keep your words and accomplish my salvation. A prayer against bad thoughts. O Lord my God, be not far from me. O my God, hasten to help me, for varied thoughts and great fears have risen up within me, afflicting my soul. How shall I escape them unharmed? How shall I dispel them? I will go before you, says the Lord, and will humble the great ones of earth. I will open the doors of the prison and will reveal to you hidden secrets. Do as you say, Lord, and let all evil thoughts fly from your face. This is my hope and my only comfort, to fly to you in all tribulation, to confide in you and to call on you from the depths of my heart, and to await patiently for your consolation. A prayer for enlightening the mind. Enlighten me, good Jesus, with the brightness of internal light, and take away all darkness from the habitation of my heart. Restrain my wandering thoughts and suppress the temptations which attack me so violently. Fight strongly for me and vanquish these evil beasts, the alluring desires of the flesh, so that peace may come through your power and the fullness of your praise resound in the holy courts, which is a pure conscience. Command the winds and the tempests. Say to the sea, be still, and the north wind, do not blow, and there will be a great calm. Send forth your light and your truth to shine on the earth, for I am as earth, empty and formless, until you illumine me. Pour out your grace from above, shower my heart with heavenly dew, open the springs of devotion to water the earth, that it may produce the best of good fruits. Lift up my heart, press it down by the weight of sins, and direct all my desires to heavenly things, that having tasted the sweetness of supernatural happiness, I may find no pleasure in thinking of earthly things. Snatch me up and deliver me from all the passing comfort of creatures, for no created thing can fully quiet and satisfy my desires. Join me to yourself in an inseparable bond of love, because you alone can satisfy him. Because you alone can satisfy him who loves you, and without you all things are worthless. The Imitation of Christ, Book 3 by Thomas A. Kempis, the 24th chapter. Avoiding curious inquiry about the lives of others. The voice of Christ. My child, do not be curious. Do not trouble yourself with idle cares. What matters this or that to you? Follow me. What is it to you if a man is such and such? If another does or says this or that? You will not have to answer for others, but you will have to give an account of yourself. Why, then, do you meddle in their affairs? Behold, I know all men. I see everything that is done under the sun, and I know how matters stand with each. What is in his mind and what is in his heart, and the end to which his intention is directed. Commit all things to me, therefore, and keep yourself in good peace. Let him who is disturbed be as restless as he will. Whatever he has said or done will fall upon himself, for he cannot deceive me. Do not be anxious for the shadow of a great name, for the close friendship of many, or for the particular affection of men. These things cause distraction and cast great darkness about the heart. I could willingly speak my word and several my secrets to you, if you would watch diligently for my coming and open your heart to me. Be prudent then, watch in prayer, and in all things humble yourself. The Imitation of Christ by Thomas A. Kempis, Book 3, the 25th chapter. The basis of firm peace of heart and true progress. The voice of Christ. My child, I have said, peace I leave with you, my peace I give unto you. Not as the world giveth, do I give unto you. John 14:27. All men desire peace, but all do not care for the things that go to make true peace. My peace is with the humble and meek of heart. Your peace will be in much patience. If you hear me and follow my voice, you will be able to enjoy much peace. The disciple. What then shall I do, Lord? Watch yourself in all things, in what you do and what you say. Direct your every intention toward pleasing me alone, and desire nothing outside of me. Do not be rash in judging the deeds and words of others, and do not entangle yourself in affairs that are not your own. Thus it will come about that you will be disturbed little and seldom. Yet never to experience any disturbance or to suffer any hurt in heart or body does not belong to this present life, but rather to the state of eternal rest. Do not think, therefore, that you have found true peace if you feel no depression, or that all is well because you suffer no opposition. Do not think that all is perfect if everything happens just as you wish, and do not imagine yourself great or consider yourself especially beloved if you are filled with great devotion and sweetness. For the true lover of virtue is not known by these things, nor do the progress and perfection of a man consist in them. Disciple. In what do they consist, Lord? They consist, the voice of Christ, they consist in offering yourself with all your heart to the divine will, not seeking what is yours, either in small matters or great ones, either in temporal or eternal things, so that you will preserve equanimity and give thanks in both prosperity and adversity, seeking all things in their proper, seeing all things in their proper light, seeing all things in their proper light. If you become so brave and long suffering in hope that you can prepare your heart to suffer still more, even when all inward consolation is withdrawn, and if you do not justify yourself as though you ought not to be made to suffer such great things, but acknowledge me to be just in all my works and praise my holy name, then you will walk in the true and right path of peace. Then you may have sure hope of seeing my face again in joy. If you attain to complete contempt of self, then know that you will enjoy an abundance of peace as much as is possible in this earthly life. The Imitation of Christ by Thomas A. Kempis, Book 3, the 26th chapter. The excellence of a free mind gained through prayer rather than by study. The disciple. It is the mark of a perfect man, Lord, never to let his mind relax in attention to heavenly things. Lord, never to let his mind relax in attention to heavenly things, and to pass through many cares as though he had none, not as an indolent man does, but having by the certain prerogative of a free mind no disorderly affection for any created being. Keep me, I beg you, most merciful God, from the cares of this life, lest I be too much entangled in them. Keep me from my necessities of the body, lest I be ensnared by pleasure. Keep me from all darkness of mind, lest I be broken by troubles and overcome. Keep me from all darkness of mind, lest I be broken by troubles and overcome. I do not ask deliverance from those things which worldly vanity desires so eagerly, but from those miseries which, by the common curse of humankind, oppress the soul of your servant in punishment, and keep him from entering into the liberty of spirit as often as he would. My God, sweetness beyond words, make bitter all the carnal comfort that draws me from love of the eternal and lures me to its evil self by the sight of some delightful good in the present. Let it not overcome me, my God. Let not flesh and blood conquer me. Let not the world and its brief glory deceive me, nor the devil trip me by his craftiness. Give me courage to resist, patience to endure, and constancy to persevere. Give me the soothing unction of your spirit rather than all the consolations of the world, and in place of carnal love, infuse into me the love of your name. Behold, eating, drinking, clothing, and other necessities that sustain the body are burdensome to the fervent soul. Grant me the grace to use such comforts temperately and not to become entangled in too great a desire for them. It is not lawful to cast them aside completely, for nature must be sustained. But your holy law forbids us to demand superfluous things and things that are simply for pleasure, else the flesh would rebel against the spirit. In these matters I beg, let your hand guide and direct me, so that I may not overstep the law in any way. The Imitation of Christ by Thomas A. Kempis, Book 3, the 27th chapter. Self love is the greatest hindrance to the highest good. The voice of Christ. My child, you should give all for all and in no way belong to yourself. You must know that self love is more harmful to you than anything else in the world. In proportion to the love and affection you have for a thing, it will cling to you more or less. If your love is poor, simple, and well ordered, you will not be a slave to anything. Do not covet what you may not have. Do not possess anything that can hinder you or rob you of freedom. It is strange that you do not commit yourself to me with your whole heart, together with all that you can desire or possess. Why are you consumed with foolish sorrow? Why are you consumed with foolish sorrow? Why are you wearied with unnecessary care? Be resigned to my will, and you will suffer no loss. Be resigned to my will, and you will suffer no loss. If you seek this or that, if you wish to be in this place or that place, to have more ease and pleasure, you will never rest or be free from care, for some defect is found in everything and everywhere. Someone will vex you. To obtain and multiply earthly goods, then, will not help you. But to despise them and root them out of your heart will aid. This, understand, is not only of money and wealth, but also of ambition for honor and desire for empty praise, all of which will pass away with this world. The place matters little if the spirit of fervor is not there, nor will peace be lasting if it is sought from the outside. If your heart has no true foundation, that is, if you are not founded in me, you may change, but you will not better yourself. For when occasion arises and is accepted, you will find that from which you fled and worse. A prayer for cleansing the heart and obtaining heavenly wisdom. Strengthen me by the grace of your Holy Spirit, O God. Give me the power to be strengthened inwardly and to empty my heart of all vain care and anxiety, so that I may not be drawn away by my many desires. So that I may not be drawn away by many desires, whether for precious things or mean ones. Let me look upon everything as passing, and upon myself as soon to pass away with them, because there is nothing lasting under the sun, where all is vanity and affliction of spirit. How wise is he who thinks thus? Give me, Lord, heavenly wisdom to learn above all else, to seek and find you, to enjoy and love you more than anything, and to consider other things as they are, as your wisdom has ordered them. Grant me prudence to avoid the flatterer and to bear patiently with him who disagrees with me. For it is great wisdom not to be moved by the sound of words, nor to give ear to the wicked, flattering siren. Then I shall walk safely in the way I have begun. The Imitation of Christ by Thomas A. Kempis. The 28th chapter. Strength against slander. The voice of Christ. My child, do not take it to heart if some people think badly of you and say unpleasant things about you. You ought to think worse things of yourself and to believe that no one is weaker than yourself. Moreover, if you walk in the Spirit, you will pay little heed to fleeting words. It is no small prudence to remain silent in even evil times. It is no small prudence to remain silent in evil times, to turn inwardly to me. and not to be disturbed by human opinions. Do not let your peace depend on the words of men. Their thinking well or badly of you does not make you different from what you are. Where are true patience and glory? Where are true patience and glory? Where are true patience and glory? Are they not in me? He who neither cares to please men nor fears to displease them will enjoy great peace. For all unrest and distraction of the senses arise out of disorderly love and vain fear. The Imitation of Christ by Thomas A. Kempis, Book 3, the 29th chapter. How we must call upon and bless the Lord when trouble presses. Blessed be your name forever, O Lord, who have willed that this temptation and trouble come upon me. I cannot escape it, yet I must fly to you that you may help me and turn it to my good. Now I am troubled, Lord, and my heart is not at rest, for I am greatly afflicted by this present suffering. Beloved Father, what shall I say? I am straitened in harsh ways. Save me from this hour to which, however, I am come, that you may be glorified when I am deeply humbled and feared by you. May it please you then to deliver me, Lord, for what can I, poor wretch that I am, do, or where can I go without you? Give me patience, Lord, even now. Help me, my God, and I will not be afraid, however much I may be distressed. But here, in the midst of these troubles, what shall I say? Your will be done. Lord, I have richly deserved to be troubled and distressed, but I must bear it. Would that I could do so patiently until the storm passes and calm returns. Yet your almighty hand can take this temptation from me, or lighten its attack, so that I do not altogether sink beneath it, as you, my God, my mercy, have very often done for me before. And the more difficult my plight, the easier for you is this change of the right hand of the Most High. And the more difficult my plight, the easier for you is this change of the right hand of the Most High. The Imitation of Christ by Thomas A. Kempis, Book 3, the 30th chapter. The quest of divine help and confidence in regaining grace. The voice of Christ. My child, I am the Lord who gives strength in the day of trouble. Come to me when all is not well with you. Your tardiness in turning to prayer is the greatest obstacle to heavenly consolation, for before you pray earnestly to me, you first seek many comforts and take pleasure in outward things. Thus, all things are of little profit to you until you realize that I am the one who saves those who trust in me, and that outside of me there is no worthwhile help or any useful counsel or lasting remedy. But now, after the tempest, take courage, grow strong once more in the light of my mercies. Go strong once more in the light of my mercies. For I am near, says the Lord, to restore all things, not only to the full, but with abundance and above measure. Is anything difficult for me, or shall I be as one who promises and does not act? Where is your faith? Stand firm and persevere. Be a man of endurance and courage, and consolation will come to you in due time. Wait for me, wait, and I will come to heal you. It is only a temptation that troubles you, a vain fear that terrifies you. Of what use is anxiety about the future? Of what use is anxiety about the future? Does it bring you anything but trouble upon trouble? Sufficient for the day is the evil thereof. It is foolish and useless to be either grieved or happy about future things which perhaps may never happen. But it is human to be deluded by such imaginations, and the sign of a weak soul to be led on by suggestions of the enemy. For he does not care whether he overcomes you by love of the present or fear of the future. Let not your heart be troubled, therefore, nor let it be afraid. Believe in me and trust in my mercy. When you think you are far from me, then often I am very near you. When you think you are far from me, then often I am very near you. When you judge that almost all is lost, then very often you are in the way of gaining great merit. When you judge that almost all is lost, then very often you are in the way of gaining great merit. All is not lost when things go contrary to your wishes. You ought not judge according to present feelings, nor give in to any trouble whenever it comes, or take it as though all hope of escape were lost. And do not consider yourself forsaken if I send some temporary hardship or withdraw the consolation you desire. For this is the way to the kingdom of heaven, and without doubt it is better for you and the rest of my servants to be tried in adversities than to have all things as you wish. I know your secret thoughts, and I know that it is profitable for your salvation to be left sometimes in despondency, lest perhaps you be puffed up by success and fancy yourself to be what you are not. What I have given, I can take away and restore when it pleases me. What I give remains mine, and thus when I take it away, I take nothing that is yours. For every good gift and every perfect gift is mine. If I send you trouble and adversity, do not fret or let your heart be downcast. I can raise you quickly up again and turn all your sorrow into joy. I am no less just and worthy of great praise when I deal with you in this way. If you think aright and view things in their true light, you should never be so dejected and saddened by adversity, but rather rejoice and give thanks, considering it a matter of special joy that I afflict you with sorrow and do not spare you. As the Father hath loved me, so also I love you, I said to my disciples, and I certainly did not send them out to temporal joys, but rather to great struggles, not to honors but to contempt, not to idleness but to labors, not to rest but to bring forth much fruit in patience. Do you, my child, remember these words?